my presentation is going to touch on the same issues that our speakers have talked about, whether this is a Facebook revolution, the real power of Facebook or social media, what does it require, and how it manifests itself. So I'll show you some of the tactics that have been used by social media activists in the Middle East. I'll show you some of the manifestations of their use with international media, some of the also advantages that social media provide to them so that it makes their job easier. The first slide, you will see a joke that has been actually written in Tahrir, and it touches about the very basic question about if this is Facebook revolution or social media revolution. And the sign shows a guy with a text that basically says, if Mubarak dies and goes to heaven, he has this conversation with, I don't know who, according to your belief. They ask him, what happened? Was it suicide, like Sadat? Was it poison, like Nasser? This is how many people believe happened to him. And I said, no, Facebook. And the joke is, as you can see here, this is in Arabic. It is a wide belief that a lot of people think it's Facebook who brought this revolution around. And my presentation is not to say this is true, but it's to say it was helpful. So this the next. In the next slide, I'll tell you why. Why am I making this claim? Is that for order to Facebook to mobilize people, there has to be real grievances. And people can get 1,000 texts or 1,000 emails. But if they don't feel connected, if they don't feel there is a need for them to put on their clothes and go out to the street, they'll never do it. So in the case of Egypt, there was a whole population of youth that were disenfranchised. They were not empowered. There were lack of economic opportunities, poverty, and so on. And most importantly, there wasn't any political means or ways for them to express themselves, to change their society. There was no credible election. There was emergency law that does not allow freedom of speech or association. And there wasn't any real political parties that can compete with the current leadership, back then Mubarak. And I put those two photos on each side, and you can see on that left photo, this was January 25th, 2010, exactly 1 year before the revolution. And this was a call on the same day, also the day of recognizing police. People went in front of the Ministry of Interior and they asked for people to show up, but only 50 people showed up. And that's what happened on the left side. In the middle here, this is the Economist photo in July 2010. And in the photo, it was very early sign to say that Mubarak is falling down. Why? Because of all the above. There was a lot of manifestation of how the society is being disintegrated, how the government is not able to provide for its people. And that's why 1 year later, January 25th, when people made a call, the other photo here in Tahrir Square, 50,000 people. Next slide. So, also for new media power to manifest itself, there is need to have, basic infrastructure. People need to have internet access, need to have social media access. And in the case of Egypt, I'll show that, you know, there was an internet movement that starts in 2003, 2004, with 1 million users. It grown to 2011 to more than 8 million. Within that period of time, there were a blogging movement that had 162,000 bloggers, which is a huge number. There was also, in 2008, a start of using Facebook for social and political mobilizing. And we've seen in April 6, 2008, more than 100,000 people striking based on a Facebook group. The main Facebook organizer, the page we are all Khalid Saeed, this is some statistics about what happened between June 2010 and June 2012. How many views? Billion.8 views for the web page. And how many feedback? 16 million comments in one Facebook group. If you go later, so what's the advantage that new media provides for people to use and how it manifests itself? First of all, no geographic distance. Anyone at any point, at any place, can do whatever they want. There is a volume of communication. We talked earlier about how 1 billion view. The volume increases a lot. And then, of course, speed of communication. Twitter, everything happens. More engagement, 16 million comments in one page. Then, interactive communication. I'll see how that manifests itself in some of the tactics that was used by Facebook organizers and young people. In the next slide. First of all, moving from internet to the street, which is the one obstacle that a lot of people have for so long said, this is only online, it's never going to make an impact, it's all kind of frustration, complaining, nothing will change. And for people to do that, to go over that obstacle, they have done a lot of things. One of them is use online for planning and make sure people are engaged in the planning. And if you look into the January 25th day, there was a Google document that was shared by thousands of people online where everyone communicated, put ideas, put suggestions about places to meet, things to do, signs to use, chants to use, all that. The planning helped people visualize what they are going to do on that day, how they are going to do it, and how they can move and go over their fear from online to actual street protest. There is also a lot of coalition building that happened there that does not allow the government to interfere and jeopardize the planning. And of course, other signs of transferring that was using online websites as a source of SMS broadcasting for news, which basically transfers not just websites to cell phones. In the case of Egypt, there was almost 55 million users. So instead of having 8 million only internet users, you can also transfer that to 55 million. And the next one of the tactics is also war writings, graffitis, and use of art. And this on the right side, this is using actually our projector here as a tool to send political messages. And that happened in DC. I was one of the people doing that. It was on the Egyptian embassy in DC. They wanted to, quote unquote, celebrate the revolution last January by saying, everything is done, we've, fulfilled all the demands.
So we went with a projector, and on the entrance of the embassy we said, "Down, down with military rule." That wall writing also happened the next day. People in Egypt used the same technique and went on the government TV building and broadcasted the same thing. So the idea here is that you basically send the message through the people, the walls. And one of the things that we do also graffiti, and you've signed here, the message says, "No parking inside the country, stay on the borders." And this is a design that was made online, and everyone at any point could have just, print it out and put it on any wall. And of course, messages like the one cartoon and rap music and video clips shows as signs of art has been all over to mobilize people and make them realize and go over their fear. And one of the cartoon on the side, it says, "Power. When you realize things the way they are, when you believe that your unity is the solution, only then you will gain power." And you see, if people went away, this is it. This is what it takes. If just people decide, unite, and move together. Next one. Decentralization is another manifestation of lack of geography and an advantage of internet and social media. And on that day, January 25th, 1 year anniversary of the revolution, Egyptians all over the world have wanted to send the same message, that no, we're not satisfied, the revolution is not done. So you'll see here, people went underwater. See how geography is. They went underwater to send the message. Leave before oxygen runs out. This is in Germany. People wrote the word Tahrir and so sent a picture of it from higher building. This is a guy, an Egyptian guy, who went over the Everest. He climbed and he said, "From over Everest I can hear Tahrir." This is, of course, Eiffel Tower in France, showing solidarity as well. So it doesn't matter where you are. You can send the message, you can inspire, you can participate. The next one is dilemma action, and this is also one of the tactics that basically confronts the government with a simple message and with a simple action that makes them lose at any cost. One of those actions I was participating in them. This is also in front of the Egyptian embassy. They would not allow Egyptians abroad to vote. So we basically made a polling station, asked Egyptians in Washington, D.C. to show up and to cast their ballots, and we had the box sent via mail to the Egyptian government. Later on, they allowed us to vote in Washington here. Another thing, I know I'm going out more. Okay. So this is two other examples. One of them is coastal protest, and this is an early action that was done by We Are All Khaled Said group before the revolution, or asking for the revolution, to break the fear barriers. They started saying, okay, if you want to take small risk, just wear black, go to any coast, either the Nile, the sea, and read the Bible or read the Quran as a sign of protest. And this is not a threatening move. It doesn't have any big numbers. They didn't even tell people to show up together. They're like individually. And what happened is, you can see here, these two girls wearing black in front of the sea, and the police decides to prevent them from going to the shore. So you have a whole line of police officers protecting the sea from those two young girls of going. So they look bad either way. The other one is also in 2005, when one part of our culture is that when some of the people think that if you are so oppressed and have nothing else to do, you just go and clean the mosque as a sign of prayer. So people made that call for them to get their cleaning supply and go to the mosque. And it was covered all over the media, and it was very funny. People thought of it as a good action. We'll go to the next one, and this is about international support. I think my colleagues have covered it a lot, how social media basically attracts regular media, makes it very easy for them to provide information. But one of the most shared photos that I think was important in making a shift in a lot of policy makers' mind is the one on the top, and it's there says specifically "Made in USA." This is a guy in Tahrir Square showing just the tear gas, and it says "Made in the USA." Simple statement, nothing more. Anyone who would see this, they will know why people are protesting and who is supporting their oppression. The next slide, and the last one, is about the use of humor, and this is something that, everyone, why things go viral? Because everyone want to say a joke, everyone want to, share a laugh with their friends, with their family, and that's why social media became very important. You'll see here a lot of good jokes that was said about how Mubarak should leave. For example, because for 18 days people were saying leave, 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 and he doesn't leave, people have written the word leave backwards in hieroglyphic language, and here they said leave before my arms fall down, things like that. And it was all part of a campaign that people used in so many funny ways. This is the last one here. It's about a turtle. And in Tahrir Square, because the military council was not responding to the people after a long time, they wrote military council on a turtle, and they just had journalists take photos of it. These were some of the tactics, and I think that manifests the advantage of the use of social media. I wanted within 10 minutes to give you some slides for it. But thank you very much.